So, what should we do tonight?
Well, I think we should do something.
Anything's better than last night.
If you're still trying to figure out what to watch tonight, we've got a couple of great suggestions.
Thought.
Don't want to see it.
Coming on in 20 minutes.
Can't wait around to see it.
I've thought of something. Why don't we rent a video tonight?
Yeah, can we please?
On a weeknight?
Yeah, come on, Mom. It's okay.
Sure, come on. Let's throw caution to the wind.
Hey guys, what's going on? You are listening to ThisWeekInGeek.net's Loose Cannon. This is the show where we talk about movies, old, new, and in this instance, things we've never seen before. My name is Mike the Birdman, but I'm not alone as I trek through this cinematic intervention. Insert A&E dramatic music here. But I'm joined by my compatriots here on this film journey from my city, much like Gotham. I'm joined by the host of Guelph Politicast and End Credits,
Adam A. Donaldson.
and of course, it is not Twig without the librarian, more often than not, from the lovely state of... That's a cute
David
name.
Denoyer, coming to you from Ohio.
That's right. And finally, host of this anime, the constant that makes Twig run in the background, much like Alex.
Ken from this anime.
All right, guys. So we have a jam-packed show for you, and this show very much came out of a conversation that I think Dave made a quip or Adam did. It was one of you two.
It was
And I
Dave.
remember, yeah, it was like, you've never seen this? I'm thinking, well, no. And it kind of turned into kind of a fun little experiment. And I kind of liked doing this. And much like any type of a intervention, there are steps to it. And while we're not going to be doing the 12-step program where we're giving each other chips at this point, we decided this week to each pick a movie that we'd never seen before. Sort of fill that gap in our back catalog. And in this instance, I really got to thank you, Dave, for making me watch this. Holy shit. Holy, oh my God. Even Blair sat with me and watched, and she does not like long movies. But we will get to my pick when we get there. So, like I said, guys, today's topic is going to be each of us picked a movie we'd never seen before. And just, like I said, just trying to fill out that gap in our movie watching experience. And maybe this will become a reoccurring topic, because this might be a nice way to get through the back catalog of stuff I've never seen before. So I'm just going to lay that on the table, such as it may be. But we're going to start this cinematic experience with Adam. What movie did you pick this week?
This is kind of an odd one because it's kind of so old, but I had never before seen Thelma and Louise.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Tell us about your experience with it.
It was a good experience because I bought it on Criterion when it came out on Criterion. It's just been sitting on my shelf waiting for me to decide to watch it. So it's I think the story is well known. Two women on a cross-state chase, victims of circumstances who become sort of folk hero criminals in the best American tradition. Susan Sarandon and Gina Davis, they are both great. Also, excellent supporting cast.
Mm-hmm. No, 100%.
Yeah, Christopher McDonald is Thelma's. I don't think he's meant to be portrayed as abusive, but he's definitely kind of disinterested in her. But Christopher McDonald, always great. Michael Madsen, Harvey Keitel, even Tobo's in here, Stephen Tobolowsky.
Yep.
Oh, wow. I forgot about that.
He's the other FBI agent. And Brad Pitt, famously his breakthrough role as this drifter they pick up along the way. I think what struck me is, as a lifelong fan of Westerns, this is a Western, even though it takes place in, like, present day, like circa when it came out, so 1990, 1991. But it is a Western. There's a lot of... I mean, we watched Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid recently, and I mean, like, in the wake of Robert Redford passing a couple of months ago. It struck me as kind of a companion to that, because it's two people, you know, over their head, seem bound for a bad end, and just kind of relying on each other and their friendship along the way. And yeah, it's so engrossing. It's a beautiful film too. Adrian Biddle, the director of photography on it, he's sadly passed away about 20 years ago. But it's so unique. Like most things in the desert now have this when they're shot now have this like terrible, icky yellow filter to it. Somebody covered it in. Somebody filmed it through like lemon candy. This isn't that. It you know, you can feel the heat of the desert, but it doesn't look bleached out or blanched out. It's a very vivid film. It's a very colorful film. The Hans Zimmer score is great. It's just so engrossing because they're great. Gina Davis and Susan Sarandon. You know how, I mean, obviously I knew how it was going to end.
See, that was actually going to be my question, because I think that's one of the things that puts off people from watching it, is because since they know that ending, I think the ending became more famous than the movie itself. Yeah, get more infamous than the movie itself. So I'm always curious what took people away from it, because I didn't watch it until, I would say, probably at least 4 or 5 TV viewings, and then I actually kind of like seeked it out and enjoyed it. But no, I think it is one of those movies that it gets more and more relevant the further we get, honestly.
Oh, for sure. The whole thing with like the instigating event, they kill the guy who tries to rape Thelma, and his reaction is like, well, nobody's gonna believe, you know, you were dancing in the bar with him and drinking, and nobody's gonna believe that he tried to rape you. That has still has a tinge of truth to it, if not more than a tinge. You know, the ending of it is, and I know that there was a debate around at the time, you know, them driving off the cliff at the end, essentially to their deaths. It's like, is that not like lampshading the sort of pro-feminist message of it? And I can understand that, but it wasn't like knowing what, I mean, it was a bit knowing what the ending is. It's like, well, what are you gonna get out of this, that knowing the ending? And yeah, but I mean, it is about the journey. I mean, I knew how Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid ended before I watched that. But yeah, I've never been one of these people who's like, I have to go into a thing unsullied. But but I mean, there have been times, like I remember in '99, like, rushing to the theater to watch The Sixth Sense before it was spoiled for me. That was like pre-internet. I've been having this thing that we're recording this weekend, because I know there's a spoiler fairly early on in the drama that I've been trying to avoid before I get a chance to see it. So,
well, my philosophy, given that I worked at a movie theater for almost 4 years, it was just like, I don't care about the ending. Like I knew what happened at the end of Force Awakens before I saw the full movie. And it still hit like a truck.
Yeah.
I have this insatiable curiosity where if I find out a spoiler, I have to verify it. It's like, is this true? That's got to be bullshit. And I'll go through I will go through the deep, dark web to find out information. Like, I think the only thing I didn't spoil for myself was Avengers Endgame. And even then, I knew a lot about it. But yeah.
I'm lucky that during my first Endgame screening, because what I did was I went from one Endgame screening to another Endgame screening literally right afterwards, because I'm a crazy person. And that second screening, someone blurted out a spoiler, and everyone in the theater literally gave him hell.
Yeah.
Oh, I love watching when the tide turns against people who think they're fucking comedians like that. When it came to Thelma and Louise, I don't think I've ever sat down as an adult and watched it. I remember seeing it as a teenager in the 90s, and I guess, as a young man in the 2000s. It's one of those movies that, again, much like Dave said, it's the ending that turned a lot of people off from going out to see it. But I remember when I sat down with it, when I did watch it when I was a teenager, thinking this is more important than what I think it probably is. Just because I'd never seen, when it came to empowering women movies, my examples at the time were the Terminator and the Aliens franchise. Obviously more action hero, women of action agency, blah, 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 blah. I never thought of it through the lens of, they're never going to believe you. Everybody saw you do this thing. So I think this is a movie, based upon what Adam has said, I think maybe I'm going to have to rewatch this. I think I might have it somewhere in my collection. I'm not 100%. Otherwise, it's got to be streaming somewhere. I'm going to guess something like that. But yeah, I'm definitely glad you had a chance to go back and experience that, Adam. I think that's actually kind of cool.
No, it's a lot of fun. Well, maybe fun's the wrong word, but I mean,
I wouldn't necessarily call it fun. It is definitely an entertaining movie. I always forget that like it really doesn't hone in on the violence much, except for that initial killing, and then there's like the robbery and whatnot, and then them blowing up that guy's truck. Other than that, it's really just two women against the world.
Yeah.
trying to escape, and then when they realize they can't, they realize the ultimate escape is going off that cliff together. And I mean, it's so weird because like it's not a love story in the traditional sense, but it is absolutely a love story of the the friendship between two women when the world is completely against them.
Well, you can say the same about Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
100%.
That is about two men who love each other, even if it's in not the romantic, or I mean, there's definitely some crossing the streams in the undercurrent, but it is kind of a, what it feels like is, because this was kind of like the big film for Kaylee Curry, who wrote the screenplay, won an Oscar for it. It felt like one of these movies that coalesced around a lot of ideas, and managed to turn a lot of ideas into one very compelling story with two very compelling central characters, and you get these two actresses who are great. And I hope maybe a bit forgotten in a sense too, because unfortunately women in Hollywood still age out at a certain, unless you're Michelle Pfeiffer or Meryl Streep. But there's a real sense of like just everything came together to make this a very special thing, and a little too campy. You might have lost the subtext. A little too serious. It may not be as entertaining. And of course, this is a time when like Ridley Scott, he is hungry. I think this is the problem with a lot of Ridley Scott's movies right now, is that he is not hungry. He can just crank them out, and he's given $200 million budgets without breaking sweat. But this is Ridley Scott coming off of, these were all failures, no matter how well we think about them now. Blade Runner, Legend, Black Rain, and then he still has G.I. Jane and White Squall to go before he comes back with Gladiator. So this is a man who has something to prove.
And I mean, Ridley Scott, what I always respect about Ridley Scott, he knows how to shoot a vista.
Yeah.
And this is...
Vistas, Utah, yeah.
Yeah, just the vistas of Utah, just gorgeous.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, there's a podcast to listen to called We Hate Movies, and they refer to Ridley Scott in his various points in his career as Royal Rid and Rotten Rid, because you kind of have those elements. It's like, you've got Gladiator on one hand, and then I think it's a couple years later is Hannibal. It's just like, yeah, I mean, it's
the very next year.
There's points of his career where he is really on it, and there's points of it where it's just like, are you just collecting a check? Is that what you're doing?
He does Gladiator, Hannibal, Black Hawk Down, Matchstick Men, I think Kingdom of Heaven. Yeah.
Oh, Kingdom of Heaven. Kingdom of Heaven is only good if you watch the director's cut. If you try to watch the theatrical cut of that movie, it's bad.
That can be said about a lot of Ridley Scott films, let's be honest.
That's all. No, it's true. I'll give you that.
So I guess moving along here, I guess we'll go to my pick, and this one is a sequel to a Ridley Scott movie. Blade Runner 2049. I'd never seen this. And I was looking back as to why. 2000s. What time of year did this come out in? This was 2017.
Holidays.
Okay, so I lost my leg. I'm gonna give myself a pass on that one.
Was this Thanksgiving? I think.
Yeah, it was Thanksgiving, I believe.
It was Thanksgiving. I thought it was Thanksgiving. I was gonna say I thought it was American Thanksgiving. I couldn't remember. I knew it was a holiday release because this was a trailer that you couldn't escape in the theater.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So I had my amputation November 26, 2017. So about when this was coming out. So that tracks. And I don't know why I avoided it for so long. Like the first Blade Runner, I'm kind of lukewarm on. I kind of want to go back and reevaluate it now and maybe watch the director's cut because I think there's like 3 different cuts of that movie or
there's like whatever. 5 now because like that's
there's
my problem
5.
is every time I've watched it, I've watched a different cut, and I think that's why I haven't grabbed onto that movie so hard. I think the performances are good. I think the story is decent, but yeah, once you watch the different cuts of those movies, there's really different directions they go in.
Yeah, so when I went into Blade Runner 2049, I knew precisely dick. I knew nothing. All I knew, Ryan Gosling, there's a holographic chick, and that's it. That's all I knew. So I went into it last night, and I actually watched this with my wife. She does not enjoy long sci-fi movies, like at all. That's not her thing. But we have seen several Denis Villeneuve movies because we watched the new Dunes. And as I'm watching this movie last night, I'm utterly enthralled to the point where I was still playing on my phone, but not as much. And I was like asking questions of the internet. I'm like, what is a replicant? How is this different from an android from the Aliens franchise? I'm asking all these lore questions. And that's how I know a movie gets me, because I'm like, how does the world function? How does the world building work? And as it gets into it, I'm really enjoying this story that I think is relevant, very relevant today. When you look at Officer K, Ryan Gosling's character, and the holographic interactive AI Joy becoming his companion, and their evolution thereof. And there came a point in the movie, Blair had to take a phone call, so we took a break for like 10 minutes, and she starts asking me some questions about what is a replicant, and we start getting into the ethics of it. And we're talking, I'm like, well, how do you define what is a person? Is it only based on biologics, or is it based upon spontaneity of thought, a soul? And she's like, well, it has a heart, it beats. I'm like, so you define it by biologics? And she's like, well, I don't know. And then I started going into what is a replicant. She's like, well, is that real? She's like, well, it's following its programming, but what happens when it says no, or I don't want to? Does it not have agency? Does it not have a soul? And the entire message of Blade Runner, at least part of the interpretation I took away from it, was like, it's controlled slavery. And because of the artificial intelligence bubble, we're now currently looking at it with everything we're doing from Chat GPT, Sora, and all these other AI platforms. There is something known as AI psychosis, but there are people who are developing genuine relationships with AI, and it's an algorithm. It's a smart delivery system, but it's not generalized AI. It's not self-aware. There's been discussions. Has this happened? Probably from a crazy person, but I really don't think that possibility is as far-fetched as we think. However, I'm just going to get into inside baseball for 30 seconds. When it comes to computing power, we may not have the capability to sustain it because computing power generates heat. That's very bad for the environment. If you were to develop a system that literally can think like a person, it's going to get so hot it may not be sustainable, at least without doing severe environmental damage, putting it in space. And even then, if you put it in space, that's so cold for so long that system's eventually going to heat up the surrounding area around it. And again, inside baseball doesn't matter. But we started having this conversation, and as I'm watching the movie, I'm really enthralled. I love watching Kay's journey evolve from baseline of yes, madam, to no. He's learning to lie. He's experiencing a relationship. And there's one scene that I really like where he's being followed by the other replicant, I guess, assassin love, Jared Leto's personal hit woman. And one of the replicant, I guess, sex robots or pleasure models comes up to him and says, "Oh, you don't like real girls." And there's just something about that. Because like, again, just watching all these online conversations develop with people, like you watch this unfold on Reddit. We always hear the stories that are sensationalized on YouTube. And I'm thinking that's interesting. And then when they go back to the apartment and Joy has invited this person back to the apartment and they overlay so they can have a night of intimacy together and things strengthen. I'm thinking, Blair found that scene very weird, but I'm thinking, I get where this is going. And I like how Villeneuve explores emotion, relationships, because Ryan Gosling, I love how he plays it completely straight until he has that freak out of God damn it, fuck. And he's not baseline anymore. And I'm thinking, oh, holy shit, this guy knows how to fucking cook. And the scene that broke me is where Joy is pleading for Kay's life after they meet Deckard, and Love kills her, like, because she's transferred herself into the Blade Runner equivalent of the mobile emitter from Star Trek. Which again, I thought was so clever, because she's like, before they leave to go on the run, she's like, if you transfer me to this machine, that's the only copy that exists. There is no local backup. I can't come back. This is it. You are risking me. And he's like, I know. And she's like, well, then that's how it is. Let's go. And just as Love kills her, she has what I feel is true self-awareness. And she gets cut off mid-sentence saying, I love you. That is Doctor Who energy with Rose and the Doctor. And on the inside, I'm like, oh, fuck, that is heartbreaking. And watching this, I could not believe how much I enjoyed it, because the Villeneuve Dune movies I enjoy, I like them, but I don't love them. This I loved. Dare I say, probably, I always say this is the best movie I saw this year. Like, and that movie may have come out 20 something years ago. This movie came out in 2017. It's 2026 now. So this is the best movie I've seen this year so far. It generates such ethical questions. And again, like I said, me and Blair had this conversation and we're talking like, when replicants replicate themselves, is that not new life? And I referenced a Star Trek episode. It's a super famous one called Measure of a Man with Data. And Captain Picard says, our mission is to seek out new life and new civilizations. Well, there is new life. There it sits. And what we decide in this room right now will decide how that new life is viewed in the future. I leave this in your capable, and I hope, just hands. And I don't know. I think it forced an interesting conversation between me and Blair thinking, life is not merely defined by biologics. It is, how do you define a soul, right? And as replicants, like with Roy Batty, who was an early model replicant, when he dies in the first Blade Runner, he's more human than human. Like, I think he says a line, something along the lines of like, you built us too real, too human. And then with Rachel, the replicant who Deckard falls in love with, they have a child. That should be literally the divine miracle. And I will say, this is one of my things where I would love to get your guys' opinion on this. You know what sucks? I hate saying this out loud, but I like Jared Leto. He's a terrible person, but when I see him in certain movies, I genuinely enjoy him. And here I thought he was a great bad guy. a guy who wants to play God.
Yeah, well, I think what makes me laugh the most is his interactions with Harrison Ford, because Harrison Ford is like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah. He's like trying to hold his hand. He's like, "No, stop it." It's weird. And I thought he was a replicant. But again, when I went into the lore, he's using those drones to see. He's blind.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? That is such a cool little lore building thing. And when he kills the replicant who has the womb that won't reproduce, and even when he does the mind fuck with Rachel and builds a new model, that line delivery of her eyes were green and fucking Love just blows her head off. I was like, holy fuck. So before I throw this to you guys, I'm going to say, I want Villeneuve to do a fucking Alien movie. Because I think he could handle that. That would be fucking awesome, in my opinion. Because he knows world building. He knows sci-fi. It wouldn't need to be James Cameron's Alien. It wouldn't need to be Alvarez's Alien Romulus. It would be a cool mix of the two. But yeah, so I'll throw it to you guys.
I mean, Denis begged to do this movie. He fought to do this movie. And damn it, did it fucking work.
Yeah,
I mean,
it landed.
This is one of those films where it's just like, I saw it 3 times in the theater.
Oh wow.
And I just was mesmerized. I loved every single second of it. It's a long ass movie. It's 164 minutes.
Yeah. And
it keeps your attention though. Like that's what I was kind of shocked, because I unfortunately was so not into the Blade Runner lore, because like I said, I tried to see it several times and tried to really like grasp onto what people saw in it. And so when I got 2049, I had a digital copy of it, and I just put it on. I think it was like a Saturday or Sunday afternoon, just kind of, well, let's see what this is all about. And I was just shocked by how much it pulled me in for somebody that is not a big fan of that original movie. This made me want to go back and like I said, pick a cut and stick with it to see exactly if I can see what people see in it. Because I think what I really liked about 2049 was it was not just a continuation of the Blade Runner lore as much as a new creation for a character to latch onto that like kind of modernized it even more, in a sense.
Yeah, it was more accessible than I thought it was going to be, because again, Blair doesn't enjoy a lot of cerebral sci-fi. She likes what she likes, and that's not to denigrate her opinion, but when it comes to overly explaining lore, she'll get lost in the weeds, and that's fine. She actually got into it, and again, the fact that she's asking questions, like clarifying questions, I think that's a sign of a good sci-fi property, because it welcomes newcomers. And to your point, Dave, it was like, here's the world, here's an opening text crawl, we're going to explain things, but we're not going to get you so lost where you don't know what is going on. You draw the natural conclusions. It gives you, I wouldn't say almost pop-up video where, hey, do you know what the blackout is? It gives you enough to fill in the spots where the story it pulls you right along. Like this movie, 2.5 hours certainly doesn't fucking feel like it.
Yeah.
And the performances are so good. Like, I did not expect Dave Bautista in the opening 10 minutes of this.
Oh, this is what immediately I was like, oh no, Dave's next level now. He's absolutely next level. This is the role that everyone points to where they're like, oh, he's actually trying.
He's not just
actually
Drax.
really good.
He doesn't want to be Dwayne Johnson. He wants to be Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
It's kind of like astounding too. And I've seen some Ryan Gosling movies over the years, and I've kind of thought he's okay. Like, I loved him in Barbie because he was having fun. Obviously, I saw The Notebook when I was younger, and I thought that was a good performance as well. And I've seen a few things, like I've never seen Baby Driver. I've never seen, I think, was he in Crash, or am I getting that mixed up with someone else? Either way.
You're mixing it with someone else.
Yeah,
I believe.
but
Also mixing up Baby Driver with Drive.
Yeah. So
Drive.
I never had seen those movies with him, and when I'm watching this, because like Dave was saying, this was a fucking trailer you couldn't get away from.
No,
for the
and it
longest
really didn't do the movie justice in my
No,
opinion.
absolutely not.
I thought, because like that's kind of why I stayed away from it, because when that trailer was everywhere, not only was it, showed it every fucking movie you saw at that point, but like it also was just like, here's Ryan Gosling, here's the barren wasteland, here's him speeding through the barren wasteland. Oh, he's meeting Harrison Ford. Oh, there's some future shots and title. Like it just didn't do anything to pull me in.
Yeah, and it was always always had joy in every promo shot, like the giant holographic woman. I'm thinking,
well,
what the fuck is
that's
this?
probably because, oh my God, was this movie expensive?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, but there's no telling it wasn't.
But yeah, like overall, I guess my closing thought on this, I'm so glad I saw this. I'm considering if there is a super edition on physical media, I'm going to be seeking this out. Like that is how much I enjoyed this. And I have the Blade Runner role-playing game from Free League Publishing. I may be taking a closer look at that now because that's how much I enjoyed the world of Blade Runner. I love ethical cyberpunk. I love asking those hard questions when it comes to artificial. I love future questions. Because this is something I think at some point, are we going to build replicants? Well, I don't think that's an impossibility in a couple of 100 years. But I love that this movie made me think. I love that it made me feel. And I love that it invited me into the deep, dark world of the Tyrell Corporation after I thought it was just an okay sci-fi movie from the 1980s.
I mean, honestly, Mike, I would recommend you check out The Creator. Like, very similar vibes.
All right.
Definitely. The Creator is probably one of the greatest sci-fi films of the last decade.
All right.
Along with this one.
That's a pretty big sell. I'm very curious.
Yeah.
All right, Dave, let's go to you, buddy. What do you got?
So I'm completely shifting our directions because my blind spot was a sequel also as well, but to a movie that I don't think you're going to expect us to talk about on this show, and that would be Sister Act 2: Back in the Habit. And
okay,
this came about solely because I had Sister Act was a movie that I essentially grew up with. Like I remember like when it was on like TBS or TNT or something. I don't know if it was the premiere or whatnot. But regardless, I had never seen Sister Act before. I was aware of it, had no idea what it was about. For those who are unaware, the original Sister Act is about Whoopi Goldberg's character is a Reno showgirl performer that is tied up with a local mobster, and basically she ends up witnessing him off somebody played by Harvey Keitel is the mobster named Vince, and he ends up offing somebody right in front of her. So she decides that she's going to go into a witness protection program with the police, and the officer played by Bill Nunn decides that he's going to put her in the last place that anybody would look for her, at a convent. So puts her in a convent, and the first movie is basically about her completely changing the dynamic of how the sisters in the convent perform and how they really like showcase their skills and everything for the choir. So the movie of the first one is of an ilk of you are having a survival story of somebody hiding out in a convent. They're kind of learning about themselves as well. Whereas the second movie, Sister Act 2: Back in the Habit, for one, I did not know it was directed by Bill Duke. And for those who aren't aware, Bill Duke is the guy in Predator that is
really?
That is exactly who directed Sister Act 2. Bill Duke is the guy in Predator that is friends with Jesse Ventura, the African American guy. I can't think of his character name. Yeah, and he's also the guy in Commando that's like, "Are you hungry? Good, because this Green Beret is about to kick your ass, motherfucker." That guy who directed also another great movie that I cannot recommend enough called Deep Cover. And
people
Bill
contain
Duke,
multitudes.
Yeah. Bill Duke directs Sister Act 2, which is the story of Dolores basically being brought back. So Maggie Smith is the head of the convent in the first movie, and she decides to bring Whoopi Goldberg's character back because now they're teaching at this Catholic school, and these kids are just having trouble basically being reached. It honestly reminded me a little bit of Dangerous Minds, and then I realized it was also 2 years prior to Dangerous Minds. So basically, what you have is
too.
Yeah, and what you have is the story of her trying to reach these kids, and naturally the way that she decides to go about it is by seeing that they all have talent and they all can perform. Then on top of that, you've also got this side story going on that nobody at the convent knows who she really is, because Maggie Smith didn't tell any of the archdiocese or any of those guys that, like, you know, that she is a former showgirl, because how are you going to get that approved? So she's still parading as this normal nun. And, you know, shenanigans ensue from there. But one thing that I really latched onto with this movie is this is how you do a sequel. You bring back basically all the main characters, including Kathy and Jimmy. And you've got Maggie Smith, as I already mentioned. You've also got Wendy McKenna, who is great in this. And also former shout out to the mom and Air Bud, who she was as well. So that's why I recognized her instantly. On top of that, you've also got appearances by Bernard Hughes, who is the grandfather in The Lost Boys, James Coburn, Michael Jeter, who is the villain in the first Air Bud movie. So some Air Bud ties into this as well, you know.
Please
But
don't
then
kill my podcast. Please don't.
the number one thing that I latched onto with this viewing, this first time viewing, is that the main chick in the choir that really has the pipes and really like does the heavy lifting at their performance at the final end of the movie is Lauryn Hill of the Fugees, Killing Them Softly and everything. That she is a teen in this movie, and she is really getting into her own with her vocal talents and everything. So when they get to the final performance of the movie, which that is one thing also versus the first movie and the second one, they really stepped up the musical performances. Like there's one thing where they're trying to raise money for them to go to this competition that takes place at the end of the movie. And Whoopi Goldberg does get up off that thing in front of a huge crowd and everything. So there's a lot more music in this movie. The overall attitude of the kids and the life lessons that Whoopi teaches are really, really good and really kind of got me emotional a couple times because she really cares about these kids. So when you see that Lauryn Hill on one side, you know, has a mom that is completely against her competing because, you know, she wants her to be smart in school and get her studies done so that way she can get a good job and, you know, take care of herself and her family in the future and whatnot. It's just really emotionally latched onto with how much Whoopi cares for these kids, so that when you get to this final performance where James Coburn gets locked into a closet by the other fathers because they want to see these kids, you know, work their ass off. The school is possibly closing if this doesn't go well. Like all this stuff is riding high. And then they just have this kick-ass performance that feels like the finale of a Pitch Perfect movie. And, you know, this is, again, many years before Pitch Perfect would even be a thing. We're talking 1993. Like I was 1 year old when this movie came out, for that matter. So I was really surprised by how much I love the Sister Act movies because naturally to prepare for watching the second one, I watched the first one, which I hadn't seen in years. Literally, like I said, I remember watching it on TBS or TNT. And then I remember my grandmother had it on VHS that my sister and I watched a handful of times. But I hadn't seen it in probably a decade or more. And I've got to say, the two Sister Act films are very, very strong. I don't know how I feel about us getting a third because that is listed on IMDb right now, and I have seen articles
They have
about
been
it.
trying to make this for years.
For the record, I think Whoopi Goldberg has some pretty underrated movies.
Yes.
I wouldn't necessarily call them great. One of my all-time favorites is Fatal Beauty, which is basically, hey, can we do Beverly Hills Cop with Whoopi Goldberg and have Brad Dourif be the villain, and we'll have... I can never Harris Yulin, Harris Yulin as like the semi bad guy, and then we're also going to team Whoopi up with Sam Elliott. Fatal Beauty is a movie that I cannot recommend enough if you're looking for a batshit action movie that from the director of Child's Play.
Wow!
It is a wild.
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland. Yep. Yeah, it is. It is absolutely a blast. Jumpin' Jack Flash is another one of hers that I think it's not one of my faves, but it's still pretty interesting. So Whoopi's filmography is really worth taking another peek at. But I've got to say that if you haven't seen the Sister Act films in a while, Sister Act 1 and 2 are great, but Sister Act 2 just knocked me flat on my ass because I think one of the reasons I held off on it for so long was because the mafia stakes in the first movie are so high that it's just like, well, what if she's a teacher now and she's got to get through to these kids? It's just kind of like, oh, I mean, that's weak sauce, but I get. But then I also forget what a undeniable big softy I am. So when you have somebody that's trying to do something for good and like trying to do it for the youth and everything, I really latch onto that. So that's why I really had a great time with this one. So this was a blind spot that I'm really happy I fixed. But more than anything, it's probably put 2 movies into my revisit rotation more so than I was expecting it to.
I think one of the things about Sister Act 2 is because you're right, it's got a very for the kids storyline. It's almost too 90s, and I think that's why a lot of people
it's a Save the Rec Center. I mean, it is 100% a Save the Rec Center, except the Rec Center is a Catholic school. And I think also, going into that side of things, I don't know where people fall on religious stories that they don't relate to. I don't know if they can actually get past them, especially like in current political times and whatnot, as we're seeing kind of, the really rise on division of religion and whatnot. But I think what really stands out in this movie is that it's just there as a plot piece. Like there's never a time.
It's not about the religion. It's more
It's
about
set dressing.
faith.
Yeah,
exactly.
it is set dressing 100%. Yeah, I mean, there is definitely more into the first movie because you have to establish the convent and the rules that she has to kind of break away from being, a showgirl and whatnot. But where the second one really, really got me with her character was she's not putting on the facade as much as she is in that first movie because she's really trying to get through to these kids and be honest with herself. There's a great scene where it's like the second day of class and the kids are trying to get her to sit in her chair so she's glued to her chair. And she's having this conversation with this one kid who's like asking her about her musical taste. Meanwhile, all the other kids are just like, shut up, man. Like, she's about to sit down. And every time he like keeps asking her a question, like, well, what's some of your favorite girl groups? And, what's your favorite rap star? And it's just really funny that she's so focused on getting through to these kids, but also trying to connect with them that she doesn't realize like the prank that is about to come in. And then even with that, the whole sub story of her being this kind of secretive person inside the school that people think that she is a confirmed nun and she's not. And then you've got Bernard Hughes and James Coburn, trying to figure out who she really is. It was a lot of fun. There's a lot of great hijinks in it. There's a lot of heart in it. And like I said, that final performance, which shout out to one of my all-time favorite character actors, Sidney Lassick, who is the pet shop owner in Alligator. He is the one of the 2 owners in Cool as Ice that own the bike place where Vanilla Ice's motorcycle breaks down. Sidney Lassick is one of those character actors that literally I just heard his voice. They didn't even give him a close-up at the performance before this. And I was just like, oh, shit, that's Sidney Lassick. Like, and it was just like another thing that like tied me right back into this. So no, I cannot recommend enough anybody check out both Sister Act films if you haven't. But if you're familiar with the first movie and haven't seen the second one is absolutely worth your time. It is not more of the same. It is a newer story that really dives into, what a caring person Dolores is for the, I guess, what will be franchise if they ever get that third one.
I remember seeing this movie in theaters when I was a kid. And it's weird. The Sister Act movies and me have like a weird relationship. My grandmother was an older woman, and she utterly loved Whoopi Goldberg, and that was like her thing. And I kind of got into these movies because of her, and obviously she's been gone for about 10 or 15 years now. And it's funny how much I have a soft spot for those type of movies, and I'm really glad you decided to pick Sister Act because, again, it's such a fun movie, and I think it's about due for one of those evaluations. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really glad you picked this, Dave.
And it was like I said, when we decided on these a week or so ago, it was one of those that was just like it was enough off the cuff of my normal shtick for the show that it's just like, yeah, why don't I do a family film? And I mean, I like genuinely had a great time with this. I do want to make one critique though to IMDb's page for Sister Act. Why is this labeled a dark comedy? That is the first genre it is under. And I'm just kind of like, Is that in regards to the fact that it's an African-American led comedy or what? Because there's really no dark humor in this.
Yeah, I would probably say yes.
I don't like that.
Stupid people.
So bloody.
Is the genre thing like one of the things that it gets like reader feedback on? Like you just click.
I don't know because like I've never been able to quote unquote vote on it or anything. But yeah, if you literally go to Sister Act 1 or 2 right now, the first genre, the title on it is dark comedy.
In order to edit IMDb posts, you have to pay them basically.
Pro, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just like, okay, yeah, I mean, a guy gets his shot in the head and killed in the first movie, but like, there's no dark comedy. Fuck off. No, it's not.
Show me the dark comedy. Show me where it touched you. Because, yeah, I've got to vote. Like, this makes no fucking sense. What the shit?
It doesn't. No, it doesn't. Like I said, dear listener, if you go to IMDb right now, you'll see it exactly right there. And it's just like, the fuck?
All right, Ken. So I guess you're gonna bring us home, buddy. What do you got?
So mine is a movie that I've owned for almost 10 years.
I got. I've
owned this thing for almost 10 years, probably because it was sitting in a collection of them, and I only bought it because 1, it was cheap. 2, it was a collection of classics.
Mm-hmm.
It was John Hughes classics.
Oh. Do go on.
I've never seen The Breakfast Club.
Holy shit!
Wow.
What?
Wow.
So, is there what's the reason?
I'm just not. It just never came around to getting into John Hughes films.
Okay.
I mean, like I own this collection, which is like the 3 big ones. 16.
Oh,
Candles,
so it's the Breakfast Club, 16 Candles, Weird Science. It's the ultimate Brat Pack, yeah. Because I've got one that is Some Kind of Wonderful, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
I mean, like I've seen Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I've seen Ferris Bueller, obviously, but never got around to Breakfast Club.
Damn, like that's like his biggest one. I mean, next to Home Alone,
I know
that's like one of his biggest movies. Because like, if you would have said like Some Kind of Wonderful or She's Having a Baby, Curly Sue, like anything like that, totally would understood. But my God, like, how did you avoid The Breakfast Club?
Yeah,
I have a weird eclectic taste in movies, and sometimes just falls through the cracks. Like I didn't see The Crow for years. And then I finally see The Crow, and I'm like, "Oh, this is a fucking classic."
Well, you saw the newer version, right? That's the real classic. You know.
Oh, yeah.
I saw both.
He says as his eyes start to bleed, like at the end of Raiders.
Oh God, that was bad.
But yeah, okay, no, go into Breakfast. I'm so curious because it's one of those movies that like I feel like at a certain age point it makes more sense to you. So I don't know if you saw it too late. So now I'm curious.
So as an adult, The Breakfast Club is still a fucking fantastic screenplay. It's one of the tightest screenplays I've seen in a long time. And what it is as an adult, oh my God, the teacher just fuck off.
Oh, Paul Gleason? Yeah, Paul Gleason. So one thing that I love about Paul Gleason in that movie is that he's not necessarily a good guy or a bad guy. He's literally just the authority figure.
Yeah. But also, I knew teachers like that when I was in school, and I hated their guts. They're bullies. And that's what really annoys me when people are bullies, even as an adult. That really grinds my gears. And especially when they're doing it to kids who can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, Judd Nelson, fucking iconic.
Yeah, as Bender, John Bender.
Yeah. Like, And I appreciate the kind of mystery aspect of why are these people in detention? And you slowly start piecing it together why all these people are in detention.
Well, they have to sit down and tell you. I mean, that's one of the most critical scenes of that movie is finding out, why each of them are there, and it all plays into their characters. Because I mean, the thing about Breakfast Club is that there's been a ongoing discussion for years, and Adam, you might be even chime in on this about how you can't remake that movie now. There's no possible
physically
way to do it.
impossible.
Yeah, no,
it's physically impossible to remake this.
I mean, I don't know if they did Saturday detentions then. That seems like something no school would do.
That's what I was sitting there wondering that. Yeah. It's like is that technically too harsh for kids now, or is that against their prerogative or something? Because it's like I, as somebody that actually went to a Saturday detention, like it's not like that at all.
I mean, and the Emilio Estevez character is in detention essentially. I haven't watched it in a while, but it's essentially because there was a hazing that went too far.
Because if you break it down, you've got Bender was the fire alarm. He pulled the fire alarm. Brian, who is why can't I think of his name?
The smart guy.
Yeah,
Anthony Michael
Hall.
Anthony
Michael Hall. Thank you. He had a gun in his locker, a flare gun that went off because there's a whole suicide discussion. Yeah. You've got the basket case played by the great Ali Sheedy, who was literally there because she had nothing better to do. Yeah. Claire blew off school to go shopping, and then Andrew, hazed somebody, and that's basically what happened. And I mean, and when they tell those stories too, they're heartbreaking, especially Andrew's, because that's one thing with the movie that I think really aged really interesting is the effect of parents into children's lives when it comes to trying to keep these high school careers going. Because I mean, you've got the great scene with Andrew and his father where he's like, are you gonna blow off a match? Like you are you gonna miss a whole meet, blow your ride?
Yeah.
I remember. Sorry, Kat, go ahead.
I will say some of the stuff in this movie aged like fucking milk.
It did. I mean, it did. There's several f bombs, and no, we're not talking about the fuck bombs. We're talking about
not even that. Like a lot of the sexism.
Yeah.
I mean, but I mean that was also the 80s. I mean, I'm not giving.
Yeah, it's of the time.
It's a product of the time.
It is.
Wait until you revisit Freddie and Pink.
Yeah.
Yeah,
one of my
I don't want to even start.
Oh god, yeah, 16 Candles is probably
or 16 Candles. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, unfortunately, Hughes' stuff has really come under the microscope, and I mean, you got Anthony Michael Hall playing, given the black voice in Weird Science at one point. You've got the central message of Pretty in Pink, which isn't that great. Not to mention all the racist and sexist shenanigans in 16 Candles. So yeah, unfortunately, those high school movies have come under fire. But Breakfast Club is still so relevant today, even with its datedness.
Yeah. It's an interesting examination of what kids went through. Like I saw Breakfast Club when I was.
It's still relevant to again. Like you can still connect with these characters, even
taking out the detention aspect.
Yeah. Even today, like you can see the cliques and everything that connect, even though cliques have kind of like morphed and changed over the years.
Now they're online, now they're Instagram influencers.
And
like you guys say you couldn't remake this today. You
can, but it wouldn't be the same movie.
No, because this movie is so dialogue driven. There's not a lot of action that happens in this movie. It's so dialogue driven from their personalities that
it's a character study.
It 100% character study. The Criterion has, I think it's 50 minutes of deleted scenes that I've actually never watched. I've got the Criterion release. I need to watch that. But one of my favorite scenes in this that we talk about relevancy is, you mentioned Paul Gleason as the teacher that's running Saturday School and the detention, and he is shown as kind of being a goofball. Like there's the one point where he literally spills his coffee all over his desk.
On his sandwich.
Gets into it with Bender with that's very clever, sir, but what if there's a fire? I think violating fire codes and endangering the youth is not wise at this near juncture. Like he gives him so much guff, but the one scene that's still critical to this day is him and Carl the janitor talking.
Yes.
And
yes.
When he says, this is the thing that keeps me up at night is, these kids are going to be taking care of me. These are the kids that are going to be taking care of me as I get older. And Carl says simple one line that is absolutely correct. Wouldn't count on it.
Yeah.
Well, there's that same character too, where the janitor Carl is like, you dismiss me when I'm in the hallways. You don't think I hear everything you say and do?
Yeah, I go through your lockers. I read your notes. I listen to your conversations. You don't know that. I am the eyes and ears of this institution, my friends. By the way, that clock is 15 minutes fast.
Yeah.
I love that scene. Yeah.
It's funny. There was a janitor in my high school, and I'm not saying shenanigans happened, but there was an interesting interaction he had with a young woman at my school. And I would wonder if there was something going on there. And obviously, I'm not going to mention names, but I was like, Then I remember seeing the Breakfast Club and thinking about that too, and thinking, you know what? It's the people you underestimate that have the most over you. And I don't know. And then when John Gleason's character attacks Bender and threatens him.
Yeah.
I remember
with no audience.
Yeah. I remember seeing that type of shit happen with my own eyes when I was in high school. Like, I remember being threatened like that. Like, I had teachers who said, Mike, I'm going to fucking bury you. I'm thinking, what the fuck did I do? And it's crazy how, like, it shines a light on a different problem with education. Is not everybody's there for the right reasons. And when you said, these kids are going to be the ones looking after me, no. And it's like, you're not here to help a student become the best version of themselves. You're there to collect a paycheck, and now you've realized you can exert some small influence. So it's these tiny tin pot dictators that hide in it.
It's that bulliness that just grinds my gears.
Oh yeah, because like people carry that through their lives in their professional careers, and it's what the fuck.
Well, it's a microcosm of high school as like this sort of like insect colony where everybody has their specific roles, and anyone who tries to deviate out of them is not seen as like productive or like following the proper functioning. And all of these people are extraordinarily functional in their own way. In that they're not living up to parental expectations. They're not living up to clique expectations, or what the teacher is supposed to be, or what the janitor is supposed to be, or what the local miscreant or the princess are supposed to be. That they're struggling against the system that's trying to make them conform to what they're supposed to be. Put them in a box.
And that's a great point too, because it brings up the whole great discussion scene of, when Monday rolls around, are we still all going to be friends? I know everybody in this chat right now has had that moment of having a special point with somebody that wasn't in the friend group or wasn't thought to be on your level or out of your league, quote unquote. And you've had that moment of well, shit, when school rolls around, and we're all roaming the halls together, are you going to acknowledge me? Are we going to be friends? And the fact that they get to the sheer veracity and honestness of no, we're probably not going. Like Claire's the one, and Brian has the well, fuck you, like you don't know what I understand pressure, like all of that stuff was so ahead of its time, but also still, again, so topical today, because we weren't really looking into kids' mental health at that point. We weren't looking into stress levels and everything. So you've got a very honest and raw showcase, and Hollywoodized to a certain point, of course, too, because, you have to have your movie. But these are real kids that still exist today. And, the fact...
It also helps that every single one of these actors went on and did amazing work.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's so crazy that you brought this movie to the discussion, Ken, because it's like, again, this is kind of the reason we wanted to do this episode. It's like, motherfucker, you haven't seen The Breakfast Club? Like, how have you gotten through? Because like that was a movie that my parents showed me. It was always on TV to some extent. And naturally, you know, I latched onto it, of course, you know, in my mid to early teens, and then took it into my 20s, and you know, still revisit it today. But I worry that movies like this are going to be lost because, you know, we've already said it. Like, you know, there's some really non-PC language in it today. You know, is it going to hold kids' attention? You know, it is primarily a movie about kids in detention trying to discover who they are amongst each other.
Yeah,
it's even harder for kids to try and discover themselves now, I think, because
100%. I mean, because all those kids would be on their fucking phones. Like the moment that Paul Gleason's character walks out, you know, they're watching TikToks or some shit. You know, if they don't have supervision and they're in a library, you know, fuck the Wi-Fi. They'll probably just, you know, stream it or whatnot via, you know, their phone plan and whatnot. It's just like that whole reasoning of discussion and being prompted to get to know each other has been put into the facade of a giant screen that we hold in our hands now that can block out communication. Basically, like we don't have to interact because we can literally entertain ourselves, and that's not great.
Yeah, like honestly, Ken, I'm shocked, like utterly, because it's weird.
Oh, I've got a smorgasbord of movies that I own that I have not watched.
Yeah, Mike, like, I think this is a launch of a new show that we can just call Check Your Blind Spots, because like that's genuinely how I feel right now. It's just like, holy shit, like what else has this poor child not seen yet?
Yeah, like honestly,
poor little rich boy over here. Goddamn, poor little deprived boy.
Like honestly, this is going to be a fun topic for us to revisit, and it's nice to have this podcast in this regard, that this is an easy topic for us to do, because why would you research on a show? It could be watching a franchise, like depending on when this airs, you may have heard us just talk about Ninja Turtles, but we've also looked at the Resident Evil movies, we've looked Scream, etc. And you know, that's a lot of intensive research, that's a lot of time commitment. But when we do a show like this, pick one thing you've never seen. It's honestly, it's the type of homework that feels very enjoyable. Like even as of this recording, I've got a very busy weekend ahead, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to block out some time and I'm just going to see what happens. And the fact that Blair joined me for something like this, I think means a lot. So I'm really glad that we're going to do this as like a reoccurring feature. So this is almost like a Ram/Loose Cannon crossover, because it doesn't require a lot of homework, but it does ask a lot of you. And I kind of like how this feels like required viewing. And I really think that's kind of a fun thing. So guys, thank you for each
on IMDb, Sister Act, dark comedy, family, music. Those are the genres.
Fucking told you.
Jesus. But yeah, so we will come back on a future edition of Loose Cannon, and we'll pick in a few more things. I know we've got some themed shows coming up later on in this season. We've got
putting this back in the ether because I listened to our TMNT episode, which is available now if you're listening to this. We did mention Darkman. I think Darkman really does need to come to fruition soon.
Okay, then we will be doing a Darkman revisitation here on the show at some point rather soon. So for This Week in Geeks Loose Cannon from Guelph, the other side of town.
I've been Adam A. Donaldson from the wrong side of town, apparently.
From the lovely downtown of Troy, Ohio.
This is David Denoyer coming to you from Ohio, reminding you that even though you have a pocket-sized screen that can play videos for you, communicate with your friends and whatnot, if you're on a movie, put that shit to the side and enjoy the movie.
100%. And then finally, from this anime, you have been
Ken from this anime. Don't you forget about me.
I love that. And I've been I can't top that. I've been Mike the Birdman. Be kind, rewind, and we'll catch you guys again next time right here on ThisWeekInGeek.net.
I'm sorry, sir. This is a private mountain.
But I only wanted it.
This mountain is reserved for patrons of drive-in theaters.
But
it's a supply depot for all sorts of good things.
Video. It's the only way to get what you want to watch when you want to watch it. Action, adventure, horror, Comedy, drama, suspense, romance. Great entertainment.
Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Orange flavored menace. I love you. Okay. I gotta get the giggles out. Okay. That's a sound people make. Anyway, okay. Shit. Okay. Fuck. Okay, I'm trying here. Shit, I'm really trying here. Okay. Don't judge me, cat. Okay.